Recording in progress. We're live. All right, so let me share my screen. All right, welcome students. This is your Math 13 Elementary Statistics Canvas course shell. What I want to do today here is give you a tour of your Canvas course shell and go ahead and let you know where things are and how things work here. I want to run you through your first week or so of assignments and let you know what you can expect going forward. When you log into your Canvas course shell, this is about what you're going to see. It's the home page. It's got my name, my logo, my course name here, as well as some pithy quotes from some well-known people. I'll let you read those quotes yourself. Over on the right-hand side, I'll direct your attention to the to-do list. We have a number of things on our calendar, and your to-do list is over here. It'll tell you what things are worth, if it's worth points. It'll tell you when things are due, what's coming up. So that's really what's going to be coming down the pike. And you can see by the little icons here that most of these are announcements. We have a discussion and a quiz, and I'll get to all of that. Over here on our left is really the primary means of commuting between the various components of your Canvas course shell. I call these guys tabs. I'm sure other people call them other things. But it gives you access to our syllabus, and I'll get to that in a moment. The modules, where our material truly lives. Announcements, well, those are announcements. Discussions, and we'll talk a little bit about discussions. Grades. And Confer Zoom. The last three here, Confer Zoom, Hartnell College Library, and getting tutoring help. Those are tabs for you to go ahead and reach out, either try and reach out to me or other students via Confer Zoom, or perhaps our library, which honestly we will not use too much this semester, I don't think. But the other tab there, the last one there, the tutoring tab, that could be very, very useful for some of my students. The Confer Zoom tab, honestly, is not that helpful. It's very difficult for students to reach out to instructors via Zoom. It's really kind of an instructor to a student outreach sort of thing. This is why, let me say a little bit about how this does work. I'll mention my office hours at a number of points throughout this presentation. Monday and Wednesday, 6:30 to 7:30. Tuesday and Thursday, 4 to 5. I will be sending out on a daily basis pretty much Zoom links for all of these office hours that we have coming up. It'll remind you that we do have office hours, and you'll also get a short list of the topics that we're going to talk about and cover. So let me go ahead and jump up here to our syllabus. I really do want to go through this in some detail. So there you see, Math 13 Elementary Statistics with my name, Chris Moss. Here's our section number for this particular course. This one's 9602. Again, that may not be your syllabus or your section, but yours will look pretty much the same. Prerequisite, there are no real prerequisites for this course. Your placement into this course is based upon your high school transcripts for the most part. If you are in this particular course, there is a co-requisite of Math 213, Section 9603, Lab for Statistics. If you have managed to enroll in 9602, you also had to enroll in 9603 to even get to 9602. So you should be enrolled in both of them. We have a list of topics, and I won't go through the topics in too much detail. I will let you read about them yourself. It really wouldn't mean too much right now anyway, but it is a technical list of all the stuff we are going to do this semester. Basically, we focus on elementary statistics. We learn about sampling and how to measure samples. We spend a lot of time in what we call inferential statistics. It's a very important concept. It enables us to make educated guesses using statistics. It's how all real planning is done in the real world. In fact, this is a very real-world based course, much more so than any of your other previous math courses. It is a true fact that pretty much all of our problems this semester are word problems. Yes, word problems. It's truly an application-based course and an application-based discipline. So we'll get through that, and I'll let you read there. I want to talk a little bit about the supplies. The supplies list is very important for this course. There are some things on here that quite honestly, you really cannot do without. You'll need a couple of spiral notebooks. I usually say 2 notebooks because I think you should have one for your notes and your thoughts and whatnot, and another one for your homework. It's just a little bit easier to flip back and forth. That's really it. I certainly don't check or grade on that. That's really up to you. Sometimes people ask, can I use my iPad? And I said, yeah, sure. That's really about you keeping track of stuff. One of the most important components that we need this semester is a Texas Instruments TI 84 calculator. I'll say some more about the calculator itself later, but right now, realize that it is a fundamental piece of kit for our course. Our course works not just with the nuts and bolts of statistics, but we also spend an awful lot of time on technology. The truth of the matter is, we don't do statistics longhand. So there's not a bunch of longhand arithmetic or mathematics or equation solving that we do this semester. There's some, but not a lot. The vast majority of it is done with our calculator. In fact, the data sets are much too large to expect people to even approach them with a pen and a pencil and paper in that particular approach. No, we need technology's help, and teaching the technology is an important component of this course. So you'll want to get one of those. We do have a calculator loan program. I need to get that data out to my students, and I'll be sending an announcement around that contains a link to that in just a bit later this evening. You should have one certainly by tomorrow. You'll want to get your calculator pretty quickly. We're going to start using it within the first 2 weeks or so, and I spend a lot of time demonstrating keystrokes. So you'll want to get a TI 84. You'll also need a copy of our text. This is Elementary Statistics, 13th edition by Mario Triola. It's got to be the 13th edition. This is a common question I get. It's got to be a 13th edition because, well, things change from edition to edition. In particular, the 13th edition, in my opinion, is really the best yet. And he's cleaned up a lot of loose ends, what I consider loose ends. Problem sets change, organizations change. If you have a previous edition, your problem set won't align with my assignments. So make sure you get a copy of our text. Yes, an electronic copy is fine. You see 2 ISBN numbers there in your syllabus. Either one of them works. You don't need 2 copies. So you'll want to get one or the other copy, and you'll want to get one of those pretty much ASAP. I have a video, but the video really isn't quite ready for prime time yet. I think I need to do a little bit of work there. But your video should give you some information about your TI. We have some grading here. My grading system is really, really straightforward. I add up all the points you get, and I divide that by all the points you could have gotten if you were perfect, which no one ever is, except on a very rare occasion. Someone does do very closely to a perfect job, but very straightforward. It's very easy to know about exactly where you are, especially given the connectivity of Canvas, which we'll talk about regarding your grades in a moment. I use a standard grading scale. We have 3 exams this semester, big exams at the end of our major modules for the most part. We drop the lowest one of those exam scores. Each of those exams is worth 100 points. We drop the lowest one of those. We also have quizzes at the end of every chapter. Those are worth 10 points each. And we keep all of those. Finally, we have a final exam, and that's worth about 200 points. We also have extra credit at a number of different places throughout the semester, but that's where your points come from for the most part. You will be submitting homework. You'll get some points there also. And we do have discussions from time to time, which are also graded, but they're really essentially a small component of your overall grade. In an ordinary pre-pandemic world, we'd have a lot of face-to-face hand-holding support, really good stuff too. Now, all of this stuff, for the most part, is tried to migrate online, more or less successfully. I will note that our Panther Math Lab, located in room E217, has done a very good job of migrating online, and we have a link on our Canvas course shell homepage on the far left side to the lab. You have my contact information. Do use email. 755-6859 is my office number. I am not on campus. This is an asynchronous course, and for the most part, campus is still closed. You see my office hours there. Monday and Wednesday, 6:30 to 7:30 in the early evening, and then Tuesday and Thursday, 4 to 5 p.m. in the late afternoon. At the start of each of those days, you'll get a Canvas course announcement that contains a link to the Zoom meeting, as well as a short list of topics. Basically, the way I run the class is this. The class is an online class, and it's done asynchronously. There are no required dedicated lectures. However, during those office hours, I will be giving short lectures. Many, perhaps not all, will be recorded and posted on our Canvas course shell. I'll make something up so it's really obvious where they are. And that hopefully will help some. But I do worry a little bit about inundating the student. I really have an awful lot, I mean a lot of video on my in my shell, my Canvas course shell. I think the technical term is a buttload, 10 to the buttload of videos on that Canvas course shell. So maybe too much might not be a good idea, but I'll probably post a lot anyway. More might be better here. I really am not sure, to tell you the truth. But I will be talking on a regular basis on the topics of the day. So do attend if you can. If you can't, there should be recordings most of the time, but do realize that you are not required to attend. I would like it if you could, but if you can't, that's understandable. This is an asynchronous class, and I cannot mandate attendance in that fashion. Let's talk a little bit about assessment. Oh wait, let's talk about contact first. You really need to monitor your Canvas account this semester. We do a lot of different things through Canvas, everything being online and what it is. It's a little bit difficult from time to time, but I do try to keep students appraised. Sometimes the students need to interact with various aspects of the college infrastructure, like admissions perhaps, or counseling. I can sometimes help smooth the way if I know what's going down, but I really need to know, which really means it behooves, which means it's required that students stay in contact. You need to reach out via email. You can do that within the Canvas course shell. It comes right to my email account, and I answer all the stuff there. I really do try to get to everything, and I think I do an okay job. If you think I didn't get to your email, if you think I lost it, or for heaven's sakes, I might be ignoring you, poke at me again. That's just fine. I don't mind being poked at. We really need to work to stay in contact with each other. Now let's talk about assessments. There are no makeup exams or quizzes scheduled. Canvas makes it very difficult for that to happen. Everything happens online, and I'll run you through some of the basics there in a bit. Your lowest in-semester exam score is dropped. I can take care of that. That's no problem there. I collect your homework via images captured and submitted from within Canvas. And I'll run through one of those in just a few moments when I'm done with my syllabus here. Late assignments are not accepted, but I will say this. I build a little bit of wiggle room into everything I do here online. So for example, quizzes and exams have a window where you can take those quizzes and exams, a window, 2 to 3 days depending. Your homework, I'll accept it up to a day late with absolutely no consequence. Just turn in a day late, no one will ever even know. I guess I could probably figure it out, but no one will, honestly. So do keep that in mind. If you do have some problems submitting stuff online, don't freak out. Reach out to me. On occasion, students have emailed me stuff directly and we've dealt with it like that. Online honestly works much, much better. It's much less hassle for you, and honestly a little bit less hassle for me. Some of our activities actually require you to be online. We have several required discussions. Students not participating in those discussions won't get the required points, or may even be dropped from the course. And I'll talk about that in a moment, a little bit more in depth. Your final exam cannot be taken early. It won't be ready. Again, there's going to be a window where you can take it. And you've got to take that final exam to receive a passing grade. Online etiquette. We expect what you would expect. We all must be polite at all times, respect each other's digital space, and the like. Online attendance. This is really important here. A lot of times you really, truly do need to be involved almost on a daily basis, via discussions, via quizzes, submitting homework, and the like. It's really your responsibility to stay in contact. I reach out, I poke, but I can't force you to respond. You're on the other side of that screen in front of me that I can't get through, really. So do realize it's your responsibility to stay in contact. If you want to drop the class, that's entirely understandable. It's your responsibility to drop. It's very, very easy to drop. In the olden days, you had to get the instructor's signature. Like, we wouldn't let you drop. We were going to force you to stay in the class or something. And that's just nonsense. So it's really easy for students to drop if that's what you need to do. Just take care of it before the final drop date. You'll get a heads up from me when that is. It's probably somewhere in the syllabus, probably incorrect, but it's probably in there somewhere. If you do miss more than 2 weeks of class, we've got 2 weeks without any sort of contact from you at all, 2 weeks without any assignment. I've emailed you, I've tried to get in touch with you, and I haven't heard anything from you for a couple of weeks, then I can go ahead and drop you. There's a couple of points in the semester where we drop students. So I try to make sure everyone's involved when those dates get close, so I know who to drop. I don't want to force anyone to stay in the class. I'd much rather drop a student who's not involved rather than give them an F at the end of the semester. But honestly, it's a flaky little thing online. You really can't count on me to make that happen, okay? There's too much wiggle room with the digital stuff between here and there. So you got to take responsibility for that on your own. Yeah, I can see the final drop date there on my syllabus right now. It says 11/15/2019. I'll go back and change that. Don't worry about that. So there is a final drop date. I'll fix that. And then we got a little bit about Canvas. And it's pretty clear we're going to use Canvas as a course management system. A lot of my students have some experience with Canvas. A lot do not. If you're coming out of high school, directly to us out of high school into this class or this semester and this class amongst other classes, it can be quite overwhelming regarding Canvas. So we'll try to help you with that process. So let me talk a little bit about your student experience. It is presented in an online format. I do employ PowerPoints, but I employ a lot of other things also. PowerPoints, by the way, really should be downloaded and looked at within PowerPoint for full effect. You can't get to it really online. Oh, and God forbid, don't use a smartphone. You can't see what you need to see in Canvas with a smartphone. The smartphone, even with the big screens, it's a little screen. So you really need a real dedicated computer screen type of thingy. Maybe a pad, maybe a computer, but definitely something bigger than a phone. So be prepared for that. You really need to be a self-starter here. You've got to work through the material. I'll run through how our assignments are set up and what the first one or two might be. They're in your Canvas course shell. They should be available under your module link. And do realize this is a transfer level mathematics course. That means the experience you get in this course mirrors the experience you would get at any four-year institution anywhere in this great land of ours. So do realize that. Let's see. You really do have to develop the ability, as I say here. I don't like to read verbatim off of stuff to my students, but you really do need the ability to find focus and discipline. That is really the key here to succeeding in a transfer level math online course. I'm not there in front of you physically to ride your ass to get stuff done. You got to find the strength to do that on your own. I can poke, I can prod, I can help you along if you ask questions. But if you just fade into the digital woodwork, it'll be very difficult for you to get where you want to go. You have a lot more responsibility in an online class than you do in a day-to-day or weekly, whatever it might be, face-to-face class. There's something about the face-to-face experience, the shared responsibility of being in a room together with the person who knows what's going to happen when the hatchet's going to fall, so to speak. Online, it's kind of a different story. I know that online communities can develop and some of them can be quite tight, but there's this just lack of distinct physical push. The time commitment is substantial. Ordinarily, this is a 4-hour-a-week course, which means we've got an extra 2 to 3 hours a week, say 3 hours a week per day of homework. So 4 hours, 3 times 4 is 12, 12 plus 4 is 16 plus hours a week, which is the bare minimum of time needed to devote to this class and expect any sort of reasonable success. So you've got to find this time on your own because I'm not going to be there to push you. It's asynchronous. Oh, you'll get my announcements, but you've got to follow through on your commitment for this course. Oh, let's see. The time commitment. Yeah, you really have to budget your time. Let me just say one or two things about time budgets. Time budgets are quite tight here. They really, truly are. We have a 16-week semester. There is no finals week anymore. It's all folded into the very last week of the semester. We give you information literally up until the day my final window opens. So being prepared to devote the time, carving out times in the day to devote to the class, this class and all your other classes is really what you'll need to do. All right. Last day to register for this course. These dates are all wrong. Gosh, someone sucks here. I'll get those fixed. I knew I was going to mess those up. But the good thing is, since you're all here, you're already enrolled. We do have an emergency statement. Honestly, the emergency statement, for the most part, is for face-to-face classes, things like earthquake, fire, and the like. There are links in the emergency statement to student support for things such as mental health and crisis and the like. So I'll urge you to take a look at that. Any questions before I leave our syllabus? We do have to have grades in fairly quickly, so your transcripts do become available pretty soon after the end of the semester, usually within a week or two of the start of, in this case, it would be 2022. Questions, just shout them out. I can't see the chat if I've got my screen share on. So let me stop my sharing for just a moment, and no, nothing in the chat. So let me go back to the share. All right, so we've gone through the syllabus. Let's take a look at our modules. This is where your material lives. This is the way you navigate through your course. I took some of the course navigation options away because honestly, you get through them through your modules and they provided a fair amount of confusion to my students. So this is your first assignment. It's essentially due at the end of the week. It's an introduction to Canvas. If you've already used Canvas, it'll be very straightforward, but I would like you to take part in it. It is worth some points, and you want to build up that point cushion right away till you get to the stuff that kicks your butt, and then you'll be glad. So let me talk a little bit about the icons you see here. It might be hard to see, but it's a little piece of paper with perhaps a pencil or a pen. That's an assignment. I'll click on that in a moment. Down below, we have a page that contains information that we need for this data, or this topic, I should say. The little rocket ship, I guess it's incoming fire, is a quiz. I'm not sure why, but rocket ships are quizzes in the land of Canvas. And then we have a little, looks like a little balloon that you might see in a comic book. That's our discussion icon. So clicking on any one of these takes you to those various things. So let me go ahead and run through the first assignment, and I'm going to go ahead and actually go ahead and do the assignment. So the first assignment is to read your course syllabus, and then you want to read the challenges of online learning. Your next key down here will take you to that. You want to view the video below, and it's a video about how to use Canvas, going over what I'm going over right now. So it's a lot of weird embedded stuff in some sense. We have a submission to make. Yeah, we're going to submit an image of our choosing. The picture honestly doesn't matter. It's really just allowing you to practice the prompts for when you do turn in homework. We're going to review the course requirements, in particular the requirements to obtain and use a TI-84. We have an assessment, the introductory quiz, and we have a discussion, an introductory discussion. Students who do not complete the introductory discussion will be considered no-shows and will be dropped at the end of the first week. So it's really important that you participate in that discussion. So now let me run through the process that you are going to use to submit homework and things of that nature. Most of you will use your smartphone to submit your homework. While it works very badly for engaging in Canvas material, it's really the bomb when it comes to submitting homework. You'll use your camera, you'll take a picture of your homework, and you'll be able to upload that. So I'm ready to attempt my assignment. I can upload a file. I can choose a file. I'm going to choose a picture. I'm going to choose a picture. Let's see. Oh, my son is crazy about trains. I got some trains down here. Do I? No, I don't have any train. Yes, I've got a train. A weird train. There we go. Oh, he likes that one. That's the Super Chief, by the way. I'm going to upload that one and submit the assignment. I know I've succeeded in my task when I see all the confetti. And you can submit multiple assignments, or I should say multiple images. You're going to do your homework longhand on a piece of paper, old school. You're going to take a picture of it, usually with your camera. You can also use a PDF format and scan it if you wish. You'll upload those to us or to me. And that's how we're going to collect your homework. Any questions about that? I believe I go through that in the video also. But there you go. That's how we upload stuff here in Canvas. It works very, very well. Now I'm going to go down here and click the next key or the next button. The challenges of online learning. This is my reading assignment. I'm going to go ahead and let you read that, but it really talks about the challenges of online learning. And it gives you a heads up as to the kind of things that you're going to need to focus on this semester. So as I say, I'm not going to read it to you. I'm going to let you read it. It's part of your assignment. And then I'll get on to the next thing, which is, if I remember correctly, was a quiz. Now, I can't access my quiz yet. Quizzes have windows of availability, and the window of availability for this quiz has not yet arrived. However, I can tell a couple of things about my quiz. I need to have it done by September 4th, 11:59 p.m. So I've got to finish it all up by 11:59 p.m. 10 points and 8 questions. Now, it's really important that you realize here that this quiz is honestly, it is designed to help to help you get used to the Canvas quizzing and testing tools that we use. When you encounter a quiz or a test, there's a number of different types of questions you may see, and you answer them differently. You have multiple choice, you have essay, you've got fill in the blank, and any number of other questions. Submit an image. You've got a lot of things that you might be asked to do. So your first quiz is really designed to walk you through all those little bits and pieces so that when you get to the good stuff, the real quiz, it's relatively straightforward. You're not going to futz around with like, oh my God, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? So 10 points, 8 questions of fun. It'll become available September 3rd, 12 a.m. Ooh, early in the morning. So 12 a.m. September 3rd through 12 p.m. in the middle of the night. I guess it was the other 12 a.m. September 4th. So 11:59 in the middle of the night. There you go. That means you've got a 2-day window to take that quiz. You can take it whenever you want in that 2-day window. You've got 45 minutes. That's your time limit to take this quiz. Now, here's the sticking point. Once you start the quiz, you can't stop and then come back to it at a later time. The clock starts running. You've got 45 minutes to get through the quiz, or whatever the time period might be for whatever the assessment item might be. So you want to keep that in mind. You'll also notice that for our first quiz, you are allowed 3 attempts. There's no reason why you shouldn't get literally like all 10 points here. So take as many attempts, up to 3, that you might need. And do note that for our real quizzes, that changes. Usually you only have a single attempt. Now, a little bit about our quizzes and our exams in general. They're all online. Students are expected to work alone. They are all open note and open book. The expectation is you do your work by yourself and you limit yourself to your notes and your book to get your material complete. So that is really the deal with your quiz here, especially the first quiz. Do not get freaked out by this quiz. It's really an educational process here. You got to get used to all the little nuts and bolts. There's a final item in the first module, and that's our first discussion. So this is an introductory discussion. And again, I point out that it's graded. It's worth 5 points. Students not responding are going to be dropped. This is how I keep people on track, make sure they're involved. And by the way, when I do the grading, I don't grade things for heaven's sakes like grammar or content for the most part. No, what I'm really looking for is really students to respond. So if you've responded, you should be good to go. We already have a number of people responding. We have some topics. So we want you to share your name, your previous experience with, if any, with online learning, be it good or be it bad. Vent if you want. That's what we're here for. And then after reading that, Challenges of Online Learning, I'd like you to share 2 of the biggest challenges from that list that you might think you might face. It's been my experience that students do a fairly nice job with these discussions. It's a real change of pace from the usual math stuff. And often students take the opportunity to really dig in deep. And it's really quite impressive to see some of the responses that I get. So we got a lot of good stuff there. All right, so let me come back up here to the top. And let me stop my student view here. So now this is back to my view. Let me come back to modules here. And I want to take a look at the first real module that you're going to encounter in your studies this semester. The organization here is pretty standard. Well, my standard, I guess. Don't think there's much standard, honestly, for all this online stuff throughout the web. But this is the outline template, if you will, that I use, and it seems to work. I offer up the PowerPoint presentations. These are dedicated PowerPoint presentations for each individual section of our text. And I cover everything that we need to cover in our material, directly from your text for the most part, or at least my interpretation of directly from your text. And then you've got your actual assignment. I'm probably going to rearrange this next semester, but I'm not going to touch it now. So the way I envision this working, well, actually, let me get to the assignment first, then I'll tell you how I envision it all working. So if I get to my assignment for my first section 1.1, or I should say chapter 1, I have tasks. We want to read and view the PowerPoint for sections 1.1, 1.2, and 1.3. We have homework assignments to complete and submit using those pictures or those images and submitting those images directly in your Canvas course shell to me. So, as I say, take an image or scan a PDF, upload that, and then attach multiple images if you need to. I'm going to take out the discussion part about the questions because honestly, students don't use that and it gets a little confusing. I need to take that out. But you've got everything you need here for your first assignment. Those of you that are in 9602 are also enrolled in the lab 9603, and I'll share those screenshots in a moment. Your review material for chapter 1 is contained in the lab, and I'll show you that in a second. So 9602, you get your homework, you get your material, you get your assignment. 9603, you get your support, you get your motivation, you get your review. All right, so you'll see how this works as we go through a couple of iterations. So that is your first assignment. Now, if I go back to modules, I will note that in addition to the PowerPoint presentations, I also have a chapter 1 lecture summary and technical detail. And I have one of these for each of my chapters. They're already here, they're all ready to go. Let me take a look at this one. So this takes the material from your text and really summarizes it quite nicely. I took the actual words, I took it from the Triola PowerPoint presentation that we get from the publisher, which is essentially a copy of your entire text. So almost all of your text is contained in these, but not all. Most all of your text is contained in these chapter summaries and technical reviews. This, by the way, is also the place where you're going to find all your videos supporting the material or supporting using your calculator. I just have a lot of videos going over keystrokes with example problems, and they're all embedded in these summaries and technical details. I've got vocabulary lists, I've got the material, we've got data, we've got pictures. And it really helps you summarize where you've been. I've got that. Then finally, I've got my quiz. So my quiz for chapter 1, I can see it because we're in the teacher mode, and I guess you can too. Let's see. Let's see. It's going to become available the 7th and be due the 8th. I may change that. The dates are not quite solid yet. I took them all forward from last semester, and sometimes that works and sometimes that doesn't. So the first bit you see up here takes you through chapter 1. I will note that this material is not yet available to you, the student. It hasn't been published by me. I'm going to be publishing it either later tonight or early tomorrow so students can get started. But at the end of the day, this is really the cadence, if you will, the trajectory that we use for our course. In my mind, the way this all proceeds.
I
Hello,
gotta
question?
go.
Sure.
No, sorry.
It's all right. We got it on mic. That happens all the time. No worries. In my mind, the way it goes is this. Students eagerly grab up the text and read the section. So you would read 1.1, and maybe you'd have the PowerPoint open while you looked at the 1.1, and then maybe you'd read the technical detail. And you do that for 1.2 and 1.3. So you would use the book together with the PowerPoints and the chapter summary in detail to make your way through the material. I'm not there to talk it through to you directly to answer all those questions that just kind of come into your head right away. But at the end of the day, that is that is really the process that I hope students can engage in. So let's see. Let me come back here to modules. As I say, the only one you can see right now is our Introduction to Canvas module. I'll make this available later tonight or early tomorrow. Let's see, what else? Yeah, let me talk a little bit about the structure of our course. Let me come back to my dashboard. Our stat courses, I alluded to this earlier, our stat courses come to us in 2 distinct flavors. We have a standalone stat course all by itself. My Math 13 section 1103 is such a course. If I bring that course up, and if I take a look at the modules in that course there, I can see that I've got vocabulary review and chapter review material embedded directly within the module. These are, I'm going to click on the chapter 1 vocabulary review. I see the little rocket. That means quiz. This quiz, it's important to realize, is a practice quiz. You have unlimited attempts at the practice quiz. It's my attempt to be able to get students to engage and practice the vocabulary because it is freaking substantial in a low stakes environment. You can engage in this all you want. So there are a number of practice quizzes here. Some of the review material is a practice quiz. The only 4 real quiz that you encounter in any given chapter is the chapter quiz itself. This is a graded quiz. It's nowhere near ready to go. I mean, it's all ready to go, but it's time-wise, it's nowhere near ready. So if you're in my 1103, your review material is embedded directly in here. I need to change a couple of things, clean a couple of things up, but this will become available no later than tomorrow morning. So 1103, standalone course, all review material in here. Some of it is low stakes, some of it is turn in. You'll see when it gets published. Now let me come back to my dashboard here, and let me come over here to section 9602. When I take a look at section 9602, this is a section that comes with a co-requisite lab. How do we determine who goes where? It is really done on the basis of high school transcripts. If you think you've been placed incorrectly, by the way, talk to your counselor, and they can really help you there. But it appears to me everyone's placed correctly. Those of you that are in my 9602 are also in 9603. Maybe you're in my 9606. In that case, you're in 9607. So how does the lab course differ than the regular course? Let's take a look at the lab course. And we're pretty much going to do the same thing here that we did for the other course. I want to go through all the details. I want to take a look at this in the student view. So here is our lab course. I've got a syllabus. I'm going to let you read through that because it contains an awful lot of the same information. But at the end of the day, our lab course is designed to do 3 distinctly different things. It's designed to support your work in the elementary stat class by reviewing basic arithmetic material that we need. We want you to do your review here to give you extra time for that review because the material is substantial. And finally, we talk about motivation and how to learn. We very rarely get to discuss that particular topic in any math class. We've carved out time for it here. It's really one of the most enjoyable parts of my class for my students. So that's really what we want to do with our lab. So let me come back over here to that syllabus. And as I say, I'll let you read it. We've got a supply list again here and grading and whatnot. The class is graded on a pass, no pass basis. Here's the nice thing about the class. It is designed to support elementary statistics. It is not beyond the realm of possibility that you pass Math 13, yet fail Math 213. It's not good to fail any course, but failing Math 213 does not take away your success in the Math 13. And you do not need to retake the Math 213 at any point in the future. So that's a little bit confusing for students. I hope that clears up some of it, or maybe it just makes it more confusing. And now, if I come back to my module, we've got an introduction to Canvas. The assignment here really closely mirrors the other assignment. We've got a video to watch. You've seen me submit already, so I won't go over that again. Excuse me. We also have another short discussion. The topic here is different than the topic in your elementary stats class. So yes, you have 2 discussions if you're in 9602 and 9603 or 9606 and 9607. Keep it short, keep it sweet. Let me know you're alive. But here, I'd like to know your name. I'd like to know what the word motivation means to you. How do you motivate yourself for a challenging task? Give me 2 things. They can be simple, complicated, silly, serious, whatever, but give me 2. And importantly, what might restore motivation after a significant setback or challenge? So once again, you want to get this in on time. Both of these discussions, in fact, all the discussions I've talked about tonight, the drop dead date is 11:59 p.m. Sunday, September 5th. So all discussions in by then. And let me come back over here to the module. Let me leave the student view. And let me focus on our first syllabus in the lab course. So again, we have something similar in terms of structure here. Each one of the modules contains 3 of these, call them mini modules. But you'll note that we've got a video and discussion to watch. If I click on the value of error and how to cope with it, we've got a video to watch and a discussion to have. I won't let any detail go about that just yet. Then you have a review. This is the basic arithmetic. You've got, in this case, your very first review is going to look at percent, fraction, and decimals. You have some worked examples, and you have a problem set to work. You'll do the problems on a separate sheet of paper, take a picture, upload the image, just like for a problem set anywhere in this Canvas course shell of ours. So that is your first assignment. You have a chapter review. Again, it contains practice problems. And again, the process is the same. Take an image and upload. You've got a vocabulary review. This is the practice quiz that the people in 1103 see, but we see it right here. And it goes on from there. So this is our chapter 1 review. And then we're on to chapter 2. We got a material review there, chapter 3, and so on and so forth. We've got a review for our chapter 1 material. The 1103 are going to find that embedded in their course. We find it in the lab if you're in 9602 or 9606. There we go. So that is really pretty much it when it comes to your Canvas course tour. I want to do one other thing before I wrap this up. I want to share my calculator screen. This is my TI-84 calculator. I have an online version and I have a real version you can touch. The important part is right here. It is a key that says stat. You have a dedicated capability to do really complicated statistics with this calculator. It's what it was designed for originally. In blue above the y equals, we have a stat plot key. Again, very, very important. I'm not going to go into a lot of button pushing here. I do that in a number of videos. We'll have lots of opportunities for that. So I'm going to stop my sharing. And I'm going to ask, are there any questions? You can place it in chat. You can unmute and shout out. Under reactions, like there's a little raise your hand. So if you want, raise your hand, shout out. Any questions? Oh, you're not really there, are you? You're somewhere else, God knows where. All right, I don't see any questions, so I'm going to wrap this up for this evening. I'm going to thank you so much for your attendance. I'm going to go ahead and end the meeting and say goodbye, and we'll see you real soon. Look for those Canvas course announcements, and do be well.